What if Naruto's lonely life took an unexpected turn? What if Kushina, Mikoto, and Yugao became the most important women in his life? A story filled with romance, emotions, and unexpected twists continues as Naruto's journey becomes more complicated than ever before. On a quiet afternoon in the forests in the Fire Country near the border with Tokigakure, we see a girl running as fast as she can, as if being chased by someone or something. After several minutes of running, the girl stops to catch her breath while leaning against a tree. Her treatment in Tokigakure came to a point where the villagers had chased her out of the village. "I hope I lost those bastard villagers," the girl said out of breath. The camera pans up and it is revealed to us who the girl is. She was petite, had tan skin, had mint-colored hair that was layered and had an orange clip in it, wore a white midriff with a mesh armor shirt underneath it. Her eyes were a distinctive orange color and she wore an apron-like skirt over fishnet shorts. This girl was none other than Fu, the container of the seven-tailed beast Chome. Stupid villagers. I haven't done shit to them and they treat me that way all because of this tailed beast within me," she said as she went to lay down beside the tree. I just want to be accepted. Isn't that too hard to ask for?" She was about to cry when she heard what sounded like people moving through the brushes in front of her. Jumping up at the noise, she draws a kunai and gets into a defensive stance. "Who the hell is there? Show yourselves or I will attack you," Fu ordered. The unknown visitors complied and from the bushes emerged two figures wearing a cloak that had red clouds on it. One of them was carrying what looked like a big side while the other had a mask and a hat thing on. Who are you?" Fu asked. "You're the Jinchuriki of the seven-tailed beast girly, so you can come with us peacefully or I'm gonna have to use force," the side guy said with a smirk. "Yeah, what my idiot partner said," the masked guy said, crossing his arms. At that moment Fu didn't even try to fight back and instead she just took off running, getting an annoyed groan from the side-wielding guy. Every time, he growled before he and his partner took off after the girl. 20 minutes later, Fu was hopping through the forest for a good 20 minutes now, and had she not run away from the villagers chasing her a moment ago, she would have had enough energy to keep going and quite possibly lose those weirdos with the cloaks. She continued on for about a mile before she finally decided to rest her tired body. Landing beside a tree stump, she falls down on her knees completely out of breath. "Man, I can keep making a break for it and get to Konoha, but I don't think I'd be welcomed since I'm from another village. Then again, I can't go back to Taki since that pathetic excuse of a village hates my guts," she whispered to herself when suddenly two figures landed in front of her. The two figures were the cloaked guys from earlier. The one with the scythe stepped up. "Haha, looks like we've caught up to you, girl. Now why don't you just surrender and let us take you without having to fight, huh? Fighting is already tiresome as it is. Hidan, will you shut up and just knock her out already? Masochist bastard," the masked guy snorted. "How about you put it in your mouth, Kakuzu, and shut the up for once, you greedy whore?" Hidan snarled back. "Greedy whore," says the guy who gets horny after stabbing himself in the heart. "I'd much rather be a greedy whore than get off on that shit," Kakuzu retorted. "Grr, you better watch your mouth, you ragdoll bastard, or I'll use my technique and get 4 times horny, stabbing all your hearts. See, you just admitted to me and the girl that you get horny off that disgusting she my balls. I'll tie a new knot with your jongu with your wrinkly balls and all your hearts." Fu was just staring at the two men arguing with a sweat drop. Taking advantage of the situation, Fu lunges forward, delivering a hard punch straight at Hidan's jaw with enough force to break it while also sending the man staggering backwards in pain. "Yeah, you just got beat by a teenage girl, Hidan," Kakuzu said before his fists extended out ready to deliver punches at Fu. Seeing Kakuzu's fists come within reach, Fu draws out a kunai and leaps into the air to dodge. However, one of Kakuzu's extended fists went rushing upwards, and before the mint-haired girl could react, the fist connected with her cheek and struck her with enough force to knock the girl out, her unconscious body falling to the ground to be caught by Kakuzu holding her bridal style. Smirking in satisfaction at catching a Jinchuriki, Kakuzu turned to face his partner to see the side-wielding weirdo rubbing his jaw. "Tch, you got lucky, Kazuku. I could have taken her out easily, but I was being careless is all." Sure, whatever you say, you masochist bastard. Now hurry up and finish rubbing that jaw of yours and let's get the out of here before anyone spots us. We're not exactly unknown in Fire Country, you know," Kazuku said as he began walking off. "Whatever, you stringy bitch. Next time you take the punch and I'll take the Jinchuriki." Hidan groaned before walking off to join his partner. Hokage's office the next day. Naruto, Zombina, Kuretsuchi, and Kakashi are seen waiting outside of Lady Tsunade's office. They were told it was an emergency, and despite being busy doing their own personal things when the Anbu agents Kamachi and Tawa had gathered them here. The four of them have been waiting for several hours before Naruto's impatience got the best of him. "Man, every time Ba-chan does this we always wait like a billion hours before tells us to come in," he shouted in obvious annoyance. "Naruto, settle down, will you? We're not the only ones she does this to, so you should be used to it by now. Remember when I was always late when you were a genin? Yeah, things haven't changed, kiddo," Kakashi said, not to take his eyes off his porn book. Kuretsuchi and Zombina were seen talking to each other when Naruto's outburst alerted them to their boyfriend's distress. Kuretsuchi turned to face him and asked, "What's wrong, Naru-kun?" "Yeah, it's not like you to make an outburst that loud and sudden," Zombina added. Grumbling, Naruto just crossed his arms before he turned to answer his two girlfriends. "It's just that Ba-chan is always so slow with this kind of shit. I could have become Hokage 20 times over before she calls us in," he explained. Though they didn't show it, the two girls were also annoyed at how Lady Tsunade was taking so long. For a cage she was slow, then a light bulb appeared above the two girls' heads. If they're going to be waiting this long, then maybe they can try doing some dirty things to pass the time. It's not like Lady Tsunade would be calling them soon anyway. The two girls then walked to position themselves in front of Naruto and both get on their knees. It was good that Naruto didn't notice since he had his eyes closed, and before he knew it he felt his pants being pulled off along with his boxers. Next thing he knew was two slimy things slowly licking their way up his shaft, making him groan. "Naruto, what's wrong? Are you in pain?" Kakashi lowered his book to check on his student, only to be greeted by a sight he thought he would never see in a trillion years. Naruto was getting a double blowjob from Zombina and Kuretsuchi. Ika, double trouble," Kakashi murmured before an incredibly powerful nosebleed rocketed him through a wall. Hearing the commotion, Shizune opened the door to see what was going on, and she was greeted to the sight of the double blowjob. "Hey, I want to join too," the medic said. Turning to face the medic, Kuretsuchi took her tongue off of Naruto's shaft. "Too late, Shizune, no more room," the former Iwa Jonin teased before going back to licking the glorious shaft. Pouting in annoyance, Shizune told them that Lady Tsunade is ready to see them now, much to the dismay of the three teens since Naruto swore he was close to coming. Pulling up his pants, he and the girls walk into the office to see Tsunade facing the windows. "Well, you four are probably wondering why I called you here, she asked without turning to face the teens. "Pretty much, Lady Tsunade," Zombina answered. Turning to face the teens, Tsunade noticed that Kakashi wasn't there. "Where's Kakashi? I swore I heard him a few minutes ago," she said with raised eyebrows. "Oh, he got a nosebleed seeing Zombina and Kuretsuchi here licking my," Naruto said with his trademark smirk while putting his arms around the two kunoichi. This caused Tsunade and Shizune to blush hard. Just then Kakashi walks into the office clutching his head. What happened? I have a migraine headache now. Nothing, Kakashi, glad you were able to make it. Kuritsuchi said in a sweetly innocent voice. Shrugging his shoulders, Kakashi walked over to stand beside the three teenagers. Shaking her head to regain her composure, Tsunade cleared her throat out before explaining what she had called them for. Ahem, now you four are probably wondering why I called you on such short notice, right? She asked, earning a nod from the four. Well then, allow me to explain. I've received another rescue mission request from Takigakure. Zombina's eyes went wide at hearing this. Was the person that needed to be rescued who she thought it was? It appears that their Jinchuriki has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki. The very same organization that vows to collect all the containers of the tailed beasts to use for their own gain. Ah, I knew it. It's Fu. Zombina thought in excitement. Whoa, a fellow Jinchuriki. I'm definitely taking this mission then. Naruto thought with a smirk. We've received a report from our border patrol that the Akatsuki and the missing girl have been sighted heading into the land of rivers. This report was an hour ago, so there's no denying that's where they are right now. Tsunade continued. I presume you want us to leave right now, Lady Tsunade? Kakashi asked. Yes, that's all I wanted to say to you guys. But before you go, Naruto. Yes, Ba-chan. As of now you are a Jonin. Don't argue with me, brat, just accept it. Tsunade shouted. Oh yeah, I'm a Jonin. Woo. One step closer to Hokage. Naruto shouted in pure glee. Shizune then walked over and handed him his Jonin vest. Putting it on, Naruto was striking poses in front of everyone for his new vest. Zombina and Kuritsuchi were giggling at their boyfriend's antics. Wow, Naruto, you look really hot in that vest, it makes me wet. Kuritsuchi purred. Tell me about it, I'd like to know what a strong Jonin like you is capable of in bed. Zombina added before the two girls walked over and grabbed his crotch respectively. Tsunade and Kakashi were staring at the hormonal teens with slack-jawed expressions. Who knew they were bold enough to act like that in a public space? Shizune was staring at them jealously. Sure, she was part of the harem, but it's been about roughly 2 weeks since she was last pounded by Naruto. God, did she miss that huge of his. Kakashi wasn't doing any better than Shizune. For a 28-year-old, he was still a virgin and had absolutely no game whatsoever. No way. Naruto is 12 years younger and gets more than me. Dismissed. Tsunade said, and with that the four shinobi left the room to begin their mission. Sighing in relief, Tsunade then turned to face her assistant. So, how was Naruto? She questioned. Shizune went bloody red from this and began stuttering incoherent sentences. He's the best any girl could ask for. She said, maybe you can have some of that glorious meat too, Lady Tsunade. It's been over 30 years since you've gotten a pounding right. Sighing, Tsunade was ashamed, but she was like 50 years old. The thought of a boy Naruto's age felt wrong to her. Wait, Shizune is 31, so it shouldn't be that bad, right? Maybe Shizune, maybe, but I don't think Naruto would want to be wrinkly, Tsunade said. Nonsense. Naruto would enjoy stuffing you, Lady Tsunade. Trust me on that one. Shizune reassured, patting the cage on the back. All right then, we'll see. Shizune. Land of Rivers. It's been about 3 hours since our heroes have left Konoha. Here they are now in river country where the 2 Akatsuki members were reported to be heading for. In front of the 4 shinobi was Pakun, a ninkin Kakashi had summoned to track any suspicious scent. The scent is getting stronger. It won't be long now, guys. Pakun said. All right, let's pick up the pace, you guys. Kakashi ordered. Right. The 3 teens answered. After about 30 minutes of hopping through trees, the group finally came across a large cave opening. Pakun sniffed the air before nodding in confirmation. There's definitely someone in there and they don't smell friendly at all. The dog inquired. Alright, thank you Pakun, we'll take it from here. Kakashi said. Don't mention it, call me if you need me again. The dogs said before vanishing. The four of them then huddled to discuss how they'll handle the rescue. Alright, anyone have a plan we can execute with perfection? Kakashi asked. Well, we don't really know what these Akatsuki guys are packing like their abilities or if they have any Kekkei Genkei, so just let me waltz in there and have them attack me. That way I can observe their attacks and figure out how to deal with them. Zombina explained. Honestly Zombina, I know that there is legitimately no way for you to be killed, you still need to be careful against them. Kuritsuchi said, earning nods from Kakashi and Naruto. Zombina face vaulted at the other Kunoichi's comment. Hey, I literally cannot be killed. No matter what you throw at me I will absolutely not die. Just let me get in there and distract the mess with those pricks. Oh fine then Bina-chan, you're so hard-headed sometimes, you know that. Naruto said. Alright then, it's settled. Watch me go to work. Zombina declared, cracking her fingers. Wait, before we execute the plan here, I have these mics we can use just in case something happens to you Zombina. Kakashi said, handing everyone their mics. Good thinking Kakashi. Kuritsuchi snorted. The team then hopped in front of the cave and Zombina entered it alone. The zombie girl walked for a few minutes in the cave before getting to a dead end. The room was lit with torches and squinting her eyes she spotted two figures wearing robes with red clouds on them, and in between the two figures laid Fu unconscious. Hey you Akatsuki bastards! Zombina shouted, getting the attention of Hidan and Kakuzu. What the? Who's this redhead bitch? Hidan snarled. Judging by that headband and vest she's a Konoha Chunin to say the least. Oh well, I'll take her on. Kakazu said. Nah, let me take this bitch Kakuzu. You just watch and learn from a real pro. Hidan said, stepping in front of his masked partner. TCH, well alright then, try not to get your kicks again. Kazuku snorted. Grr, you Kakuzu. Hidan said before flinging his overly large scythe straight at Zombina. Zombina jumps the attack and flings several kunai straight at Hidan's. The knives embed in his face making him groan in pain. Gah, you ruined my sexy face bitch. Hidan growled in anger before lunging forward, you're gonna learn not to mess with me and my Jashin. He then takes one of his retractable spears and hurls it at Zombina, and before the undead girl could react the spear impales her through the shoulder, drawing a large amount of blood. Just like I planned, she thought as she landed on the ground clutching her shoulder pretending to be in severe pain while pulling the spear and tossing it. Pressing the button on her mic she whispers into it before turning her attention back to the weird masochist. Hidan sees the small trickle of blood forming on Zombina's face and rushes over to pick up his spear. Ha 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 ha. I got you right where I want you girly. Now you will pay for your sins against Jashin. Zombina tried to move in to attack the man, but she stopped in her tracks, unable to move. What's going on? Hidan then licks Zombina's blood off from the spear and places a foot on the ground to draw the symbol for Jashin on it. His body then changes its outer appearance, and in a few seconds he looks like a skeleton from Masters of the Universe. HM, ha 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 ha. I hope you're ready for a world of pain girl, because I'm gonna have some fun with you. Say hello to my curse technique, dead controlling possessed blood. Hidan shut the up and just finish this. Kakuzu yelled from the sidelines. You shut the up. Hidan shot back, giving his partner the death stare. While those two were busy arguing, we see Kuritsuchi and Naruto sneaking behind Kakuzu. Naruto picks up Fu's unconscious body while Kuritsuchi applies a transformation jutsu, turning into the mint-haired girl. Gah, fine. I'll just end this girl right here, right now. Hidan shouted before raising his spear and repeatedly stabbed himself multiple times in the gut. The repeated blows made the zombie girl scream in sheer agony, much to Hidan's pleasure. Ha ha. I hope you enjoyed the pain, because here comes the coup de grace. Hidan then points his spear at his heart. Seeing this, Zombina feigns fear. Without warning, Hidan then raises the spear and proceeds to impale himself. As the spear goes through his heart, he moans loudly in pain while Zombina tries to scream but couldn't find the energy to do so. Hidan's jutsu then dispels and Zombina collapses backwards on the ground, the zombie girl spewing out blood from her mouth. As he relishes in pleasure from the blow to his heart, Hidan regains his composure and takes a look at the seemingly dead zombie girl. Seeing her lifeless corpse, he laughs maniacally. Feel the pain, girlie. Ha ha ha. So how do you like that, Kakuzu? Pretty awesome, isn't it? The Jushinist said, turning to his partner. Kakuzu said before turning to look at Fu's body, only for the girl to wake up and launch a punch directed at Kazuku's nose, breaking it with enough power to send the man staggering back. The masked Akatsuki growled, holding his aching nose, "What the was that for, girl?" Kakuzu then launches his expendable arms and snares Fu, binding the girl, rendering her immobile. He then reels the hand in where she is pinned against his body, where she looks like she is being held hostage. "I'll show you to disrespect your elders, kid," Kakuzu whispered into her ear. Hidan walks over, obviously wanting to draw more blood. "Hey, let me do my technique on this kid, who cares about her anyway? No one cares about the Jinchurikis, so them. You want to piss off Pain-sama? Then go ahead and piss him off, I'll relish in your death at his hands." Kakuzu spat. "What are you talking about? We are Pain-sama's favorite, so he wouldn't give a shit. Oh, and I can't even die, thank you very much," Hidan said. "Oh yeah, try him." The two of them then get into another argument, much to Fu's annoyance. The camera then pans to the dead Zombina and closes in on her face. Her frown then turns into a smile. "You guys want to borrow my sai?" The two Akatsuki then turn around to face the direction from where the voice came and spot Zombina rising up. She then tosses 5 sai straight at the two men and performs a hand seal. Sai Shadow Clone Jutsu. "What the?" Hidan gasped in shock. The 5 sai then turn into several hundred of them and they all riddle the men's bodies. Kakuzu was quick and quickly spun around to avoid Fu getting hurt. "Ow ow 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 ow." Hidan cried out as he is riddled to the bone with sai, while Kakuzu just shrugs off the pain. Zombina laughs at their pain, only for Hidan to somehow recover from the onslaught and appear behind her by God knows how, catching her off guard. He then applies a chokehold and gets Zombina's neck in a really strong grip, choking her. "You bitch. How did you survive the ritual?" "Bah. No matter, I'll just squeeze you so hard I'll break your spine. Or stab you." Again, the Jushinist declared before applying more pressure on her neck. Hearing the girl groaning in pain, Hidan then takes his spear and then repeatedly stabs those Zombina while also getting the spear into his body as well. Zombina feigns pain while Hidan moans in the pleasure of the spear stabbing him through Zombina. This continued on for 5 minutes before Zombina shot her head backwards and headbutts him with a straight mouth, knocking out several teeth. Stumbling back in pain, Hidan spits out blood and some more teeth before Zombina faces him and takes a sigh and goes to lunge forward. Hidan couldn't react in time, and the next thing he knew, the zombie girl thrusted the sai into his head and gave a strong yank with enough force to rip the head off the body. Zombina then opens her mouth wide and munches on the decapitated head, much to Hidan's displeasure. "Oh God, not the face!" Hidan screamed as Zombina took 3 bites out of his face. After the 3rd bite, Zombina discards the head before holding her severely wounded torso. "Okay, that was the most disgusting and foul meat I've ever had the misfortune of tasting. That tasted like burnt," she said, spitting out the chewed flesh. "Oh man, Naruto's going to be working hard to stitch these wounds shut, my poor baby." Hidan's munched up head went wide-eyed. How are you still alive? And what in Jashin's name are you?" the decapitated Jushinist asked in what sounded like fear. "Because," Zombina said as she turned to face Hidan's head. Unzipping her Chunin vest and undershirt, she reveals her wounded torso to the man, only for him to gasp in shock. I'm the liveliest corpse on this planet. Zombina-chan. Fear me, you Akatsuki scum. Kazuku was watching the entire exchange with a deadpan expression. Of course that masochist bastard would underestimate a girl. Serves him right. He mentally sighed. Kakuzu was so annoyed that he didn't have time to react to Fu's upwards kick that struck him dead on the chin with enough force to smash it while also sending him flying away a few feet. Landing on the ground with a thud, Kakuzu holds his sore chin and looks up at the Jinchuriki. You're fast, girl. Fu just sighed before she turned into Kuritsuchi. I can't believe how smelly you bastards are. Smells like two avocados hate. Jonin declares before another figure appears beside her, being Naruto. Naru-kun, how's our Jinchuriki? She's in a safe place. Naruto said before they and Zombina surround Kakuzu. Now it's just you, masked guy. You've got nowhere to go. Kuritsuchi spoke. That's right. You can surrender and come with us peacefully, or what were we going to do again? Zombina asked with a sweat drop. I don't think we've established that. Naruto said. Kakashi then walked into the cave, allowing the four to surround Kakuzu completely. Grr. Who are you people? The Akatsuki questioned with an angry tone. I'm glad you asked. We are. Kakashi started as he began spinning like a ballerina. The Konoha 4. He declared as he stopped with his arms somehow extending with a thumbs up. Cricket chirp. That name blows Bakashi. Naruto snorted. Yeah, that name is just, what? Kakuzu added with a sweat drop. Hey, it was the best I got. Kakashi said. Can it, you guys? Let's just kill these two wads and head home. Kuritsuchi shouted. Fine, Naruto, do you mind taking care of our masked friend over there? Sure thing, Kakashi. Naruto said as he walked over to the still injured Kakuzu. What are you going to do me, you demon brat? Akatsuki asked. Oh, just this. Rasenshuriken. Naruto shouted out before flinging a Rasenshuriken at the man. The attack collides with Kakuzu's body and the masked man screams in pure agony as he is literally ripped to shreds by the attack. Kakashi, Zombina and Kuritsuchi were all staring at the display of awesomeness in awe. No way. When did he learn to do that? Thought a very shocked Kakashi. Naru-kun makes me so wet. Kuritsuchi thought with a blush. Such a sexy man with powerful jutsu. Zombina thought. After a few minutes, Kakuzu's cries of agony were ceased as the attack subsided and what was left were just a few shredded pieces of the man. Nodding in satisfaction, Kakashi then turns to face Hidan's head, which was busy cursing them out. So, what shall we do about that one? The masked Jonin asked his colleagues. I got this. Kuritsuchi said, walking up to the head. What sticks aren't getting away with this. By the name of Jashin, was all the head said before Kuritsuchi stomped on it, smashing the entire head into pieces of skull, brain matter and blood. Damn, that guy was annoying. What was his name again? Skeletor. Kuritsuchi asked, getting shrugs from the others. The other three just shrugged before exiting the cave. They walk over to the unconscious Fu, who was left beside a cluster of trees, and grab her before heading off back to Konoha. Konoha General Hospital. That evening, Naruto, Kuritsuchi, Zombina, Kakashi and Tsunade are seen standing beside a resting Fu. The moment they got back with her, they immediately headed towards the hospital and got Fu admitted into a spare room. They've been watching her ever since and she hasn't woken up yet. Man, she's out cold, huh? Naruto asked, breaking the silence. I wager she'd wake up soon. It's just a minor concussion she took from whoever you rescued her from, so it's no big deal. Tsunade yawned. We should be heading home, guys. Let's leave her to rest and we'll check up on her first thing in the morning. Wait, Naruto said, making everyone stop to look at him. What is it, Naruto? Tsunade questioned. She's Well, she's a fellow Jinchuriki, isn't she? He asked, earning a nod from the Sanin. Would it be okay if I stay here to watch her? Tsunade smiled before walking over to the blonde teen and placing a hand on his shoulder. Sure, Naruto. If that's what you really want, I'll grant your request. Kuritsuchi and Zombina were giggling in the background. Looks like Naruto's got a soft spot for her. Oh man, there goes another girl for his harem, you lucky son of an awesome ninja. Kakashi thought in frustration. Everyone but Naruto left the room. Grabbing a chair, Naruto places it beside the bed and takes a seat. He looks at the girl and damn. She was fine as hell. Wow, that mint hair color is so much better than Sakura's hair. That pink is nasty and I'd pay a guy to claw out my eyes if I ever have to look at it again. Naruto mumbled to himself. About half an hour would go by before Naruto felt sleep starting to take over. He tried to fight the urge, but soon enough he lays his head on the bed beside the girl and snores his off. Next morning, the sun shines through the window and the light reaches Fu's face, causing her to wake up. The girl groaned in pain and rubbed her head in pain before she opened her eyes and was surprised at where she was. Huh, where am I? Am I dead? She thought before turning her attention to the sleeping form that was beside her. Who's this guy? Wait, judging by the headband and Jonin vest, I guess I'm in a hospital in Konoha then. Wait. So this guy must have rescued me from those rogue douches. Turning to face the other direction, she spots a table with some bottles of water on it that were left for her the previous night. I am pretty thirsty too, so why not? She reaches for a bottle and loosens the cap and goes to drink through the water bottle faster than Might Guy runs 1,000 laps around the village. So good. I feel refreshed. Her thoughts were interrupted when the blonde guy beside her woke up with a very long and drawn-out yawn. Rubbing his eyes, he was greeted to the sight of the mint-haired girl, all awake and seemingly okay. Well, good morning, Naruto bellowed. Good morning. Fu greeted back, trying to hide her nervousness. Naruto moves his head closer to Fu's to where their faces are mere inches away and observes her with wide eyes. Hey, what are you doing? Fu said, trying to hide her blush. Just checking you for any signs on fatigue face-wise, and by the looks of it you're A-okay. Naruto declared with a thumbs up. I'm sure I'm fine, Fu said. So where am I? You're in Konoha General Hospital. Me and my team went after you after we received a request from that leader in Tokigakure that you were kidnapped by the Akatsuki. When I found out why you were kidnapped, I wanted to risk everything I have to get you. The blonde explained. Why? You came after me even if I'm just a complete stranger? Fu asked with a blush. Yes, you're a fellow ninja, and in my book any ninja, no matter what village you're from, we all share the same goal, which is to protect our villages. Shinobi help others no matter where they come from. Is there any other reason beside that? You're a Jinchuriki and I couldn't let a fellow Jinchuriki be kidnapped like that, or worse, killed. Naruto said as he placed his hand on Fu's. Fu was flustered by what Naruto was saying to her, then she realized what he said. Wait, you're a Jinchuriki too? Yeah, as a result I was hated by most of the villagers for my whole life. Villagers would chase me, beat me within an inch of my life and leave me for dead. The only person who truly cared about me was Old Man Hokage. Looking at the boy with teary eyes, Fu couldn't help but embrace the blonde in a tight hug. I'm the same way. She began sobbing. I'm sorry that happened to you. I dealt with the same thing back in Taki, and the only person who truly cared was Shibuki, our village L leader. All Naruto did was smile before returning the embrace. Reaching his hand up, he rubs the back of her head and speaks words of encouragement. Don't let those pricks who gave you shit put you down. Use it to make yourself a better person, and when you become a better person, then you're not what they perceive you to be. Show them that you're you and not some demon. Fu then jumped out of the bed and tackled Naruto to the ground and began sobbing into his chest. Smiling, Naruto made no attempt to push the girl off and gently rubbed her back. The two of them lay there on the floor hugging. The moment was interrupted however when the door to the room opened and Tsunade and Shizune walked in. Seeing the two teenagers lying there, Tsunade had a perverted grin on her face while Shizune was jealous because she hadn't been with Naruto for a few weeks. Damn it, she's probably next, Shizune thought with a sweat drop. Are you two youngsters going to lay there all day? We can leave you alone for a few hours if you'd like, Tsunade said. Hearing the Sanin's words, the two of them separate, rubbing the back of their heads while laughing nervously. Oh hey Ba-chan. Didn't know you and Shizune-chan were here, Naruto said, trying to kill the awkward situation he and Fu were in. Just coming here to check on Fu's condition and judging by the looks of it she seems good, Tsunade inquired. Why yes ma'am, Fu said. Alright then, if you believe you are 100% better then you can go. Oh, and call me Lady Tsunade because I'm this village's Hokage. Oh crap. Thank you Lady Tsunade, Fu said, bowing to show respect. Now young lady, no need for that. So you're from Takigakure? Tsunade asked for a nod from the Jinchuriki. Alright, I know that you're the container of Chome, and well I'm assuming you get treated like crap from the villagers back home, am I right? Yes, Fu answered shyly. Then I hereby make you a chunin of Konohagakure. I've already completed your papers this morning so I'll send you your chunin vest later. Fu ran up to the Sanin and enveloped her in a hug. Thank you Tsunade-sama. Smiling at the girl's happiness she returns the hug. It's alright Fu, I'm sure you will love it here. Hey Ba-chan, can I show Fu around the village? Naruto asked. Why of course Naruto, that's if Fu is okay with it that is, she said, giving the girl a knowing look. By the way you can live in the apartment 2 doors from his. Looking at Tsunade and then Naruto, she gives the blonde Jinchuriki a warm smile. Of course, come on, Naruto, show me around. Thanks Tsunade-sama, Fu said, grabbing the blonde by his hand and her red bag and practically dragging him out of the room and out the hospital. Tsunade just giggled at their antics. Oh boy, I can't wait to be the grandmother of the baby of 2 Jinchuriki. I haven't had his glorious in a few weeks. I need it before I'm farther along. Shizune sighed before they walked out of the room. Streets of Konoha. After spending the whole day walking around the village and showing her all the good eateries, Naruto decided to take her to Ichiraku Ramen's to have dinner before taking her to her apartment, which was 2 doors down from Naruto's. Fu had really started to like the blonde teenager throughout the entire day they've spent in hell. She was definitely falling for the bastard. Now here they are just having a ramen eating contest and have already gone through almost 100 bowls, and to Naruto's surprise Fu was leaving him in the dust. Wow, this ramen is so good. Way better than the ones in Takigakure, Fu declared as she finished a bowl. Tell me about it. The old man here makes easily the best ramen in the entire world, Naruto said as he started another bowl. I know I will do my best. Chuki chuckled before placing over 3 more bowls in front of them. Eat up. For another half hour the two of them continued to gobble so much ramen that Chuki was literally going to be even richer than Naruto. Thanks old man. See you next time. Thank you very much for the food. See you later, kiddos. What a cute couple, hahaha. Chuki giggled to himself with a very perverted grin. However, from the shadows in the back room we see Ayame watching the 2 teens walk away. No, he has another girl. I need to tell him, she thought before walking away. Fu's apartment. After eating ramen, Naruto decided to take Fu out to buy some clothes since she left everything back in Takigakure. Sadly for Naruto, he was holding over 10 bags, but he didn't complain. Walking up to Fu's door, she spots a letter taped to the wall. Reading it, she smiles before taking the key which was included with the letter and unlocks the door. Come in Naruto, Fu ordered. URG, okay, Naruto said, trying to balance the bags in his arms. You can set the bags down on the table, Naruto. Walking over to the table, Naruto proceeds to place all the bags neatly on the table. Turning to face the mint-haired girl, he sees her placing her red bag on the couch. His eyes, however, made their way down to her butt. Despite wearing that white apron skirt, Naruto could make out her small but incredibly round. He continued staring when he felt his slowly harden at the lovely sight and what felt like eyes glaring at him. Looking up, Naruto saw that Fu was just staring at him with an emotionless expression plastering her face. Oh crap. The two of them stay that way for about a minute before Fu winked at him and stuck her tongue out as if teasing him. Then what she did next was reach for her skirt and she flicked it upward, giving Naruto a pleasurable glimpse of her panties. Mint-colored just like her hair. So what do you want to do, Fu? My bed, want to go to sleep, Fu said as she slowly walked up to Naruto. She presses her body against his chest and plants a gentle kiss on his lips. I suppose it is pretty late now, Naruto inquired. Okay then, come with me. Naruto and Fu's mindscape. Kurama was seen sitting in a chair with a bag of popcorn and some Pepsi. He has been enjoying the show ever since Naruto began jackhammering all these girls into pregnancy. He has been enjoying the show his container was putting on for him. Hee, this is great. Just then the door opens and in walks Chome, the seven-tailed beetle. Turning to face the beetle, Kurama waves at him. Yo, how's it going, Chome? What's up, Kurama, old buddy, old pal? I've been doing good. Have you come to enjoy the show? Oh yeah, I can't wait to see your blonde screw my mint-haired girl into submission. Well, have a seat, take some popcorn and let's enjoy this lovely dinner and movie. You know, Kurama, I wonder how the child of two Jinchuriki will turn out. Let's watch this beautiful coitus. Chome then flies over and takes a seat next to Kurama and the two of them watch the show. Fu then takes his hand and walks him to her bedroom. As soon as they walked in, Fu had turned around and planted another kiss on his lips, except this one was full of love and lust. Naruto returns her kiss and eventually they are swapping spit, and the taste of the other's amazing saliva was sending waves of pleasure throughout their bodies and arousal was sweeping through their bodies. Naruto could feel his slowly getting harder while Fu's was getting wetter the more they were making out and swapping spit. Deciding to take charge, Naruto reaches under Fu's shirt and proceeds to unhook her bra. Tossing it aside, he then gropes her and gives them a tight squeeze. Naruto. Fu moaned. Naruto then takes her shirt off and sits up and begins on her B-cup size. Wait, Naruto. Yes. Naruto looked up and saw that she was blushing. I know I'm not big and all, sorry. Fu said, ashamed of her small size. Fu, you look beautiful, Naruto said with a smile. The happiness that she felt from his compliment was too much for her to bear, and she just planted another kiss on his lips and forced her tongue into his mouth. Allowing entrance, Naruto could feel her warm tongue lick almost every nook and cranny of his mouth. The two Jinchuriki moan at the feeling, and by now their arousal was off the roof. Soon enough it became too much for them to handle, and Fu would make the first move and begin ripping Naruto's clothes off with such speed that he didn't know what happened. Whoa, that was quick, he said. Well, I'm horny, Naruto, so you can't blame me. Her boldness was shattered when she glanced down and saw what she would assume was the biggest ever on a human being. Woo, that looks so hot, so nice and hard, Fu thought wide-eyed. Naruto noticed that Fu was just staring. Chuckling, he reaches for his prick and gently pumps it. What's the matter, Fu-chan? Never seen a before. Well, you're as the first. I wasn't expecting that. She brushes Naruto's pumping hand away and gently pumps his massive spear, and the feeling of her soft hands makes him hiss in pleasure. Oh shit, feels like Kuritsuchi pumping me, he thought. Fu saw her lover's face scrunch up in pleasure and was pleased that he was enjoying her handjob. Feeling confident, she then opens her mouth and takes the head into her warm mouth. Naruto groaned out. Fu's blowjob was out of this world. Out of all the girls he thought Kuritsuchi's was the best, but Fu came in a close second. Fu hummed, sending strong vibrations that added to the pleasure, and it was driving Naruto insane. Fu. Naruto moaned out. Fu then decided to try and take in more, already having at least 4 inches in. She then inched her way down the shaft, managing to get another 5 inches in. The shaft accidentally brushed against her uvula, almost making her throw up, but she managed to hold it down. She then brings her tongue into play and gently works the underside of Naruto's mass, making her new boyfriend moan out loud in bliss. "Oh God, Fu-chan, that feels so good, please don't stop." Fu got even more wet hearing that, and she sped up her blowjob to such a fast pace that Naruto's orgasm was drawing near. Fu, I'm going to. Naruto was silenced when Fu placed a hand over his mouth so she could focus on pleasuring him and getting her desired drink of Naruto's sperm. Naruto gasped out when he shot a gallon's worth of cum into Fu's mouth. The sheer volume of it caught Fu by surprise, and she moaned in pleasure, tasting the lovely cum in her mouth. Feeling his orgasm die down, she took the out of her mouth and was left with a sheer mouth full of thick cum. It tasted very unique. So, Fu, how does it taste? Naruto asked between pants. Fu just gave him a smile despite having a mouth full cum. She then swallows it all in one loud gulp. That tasted so good, Naruto-kun, she said, licking her lips. Well, you were so good, Fu, let me return the favor. Naruto said as he picked Fu up and placed her gently on the bed, laying on her back. Oh, love me, Naruto. Fu moaned. Of course I will. Naruto reaches for her skirt and removes it and enjoys the sight before him. Her mint-colored panties were so wet. He then removes the fishnet leggings she had on and without hesitations took her panties off, revealing. Go ahead, Fu said. Naruto slowly moved his head into her, and instead of gently licking her, he dove straight in and began motorboating the girl. The sudden pleasure caught Fu completely off guard. Naruto! Fu screamed out. Naruto's motorboating was sending feelings throughout Fu's body that she had never felt before. She continued moaning while licked and motorboating. Naruto then brought his finger into the fray and inserted it into her orifice while using his tongue to flick her. In Naruto-kun, Fu cried out as the sudden feeling of his intrusive finger made her yelp a little. Naruto's eating abilities were just way too much for the inexperienced Fu to handle. Feeling a very powerful pressure build up within her lower regions, she then came. In Naruto, she screamed out and she fired out a water hose of female ejaculate into Naruto's mouth, filling it up with delicious juices. She squirted for a good minute until the torrent died down. Sitting up, Naruto and began gurgling her liquids in his mouth before gulping it down like Gatorade. He then looked at Fu, who was breathing heavily with her eyes closed. She then opened her eyes and looked at Naruto, a massive blush on her face. That was amazing, Naruto-kun. She panted out, voice sounding very quiet. I'm glad you liked it, Fu. Are you ready for the main course? He asked, earning a nod from the girl. He positioned himself over her and proceeded to guide his prick near her entrance before she stopped him. Naruto, wait. Yes, I'm just a bit nervous is all. I mean, look at the size of that compared to me. I'm pretty sure my vagina is smaller proportionally and, well, I'm a pretty petite girl in general. Naruto then kissed her gently on the lips. I wouldn't put you into a quivering mess, it feels wrong. I promise I'll make true love to you. He reassured me. Smiling, Fu then nodded, letting him know it was okay for him to enter her. Naruto then guides his massive spear into her entrance and is immediately met by resistance from her hymen. Don't stop, please, Fu pleaded. Naruto then gave a gentle but sharp thrust and bypassed her hymen. The feeling of losing her virginity made Fu gasp in pleasure as the head made its way into her vagina. The sheer girth makes her moan quietly into Naruto's ear. Naruto had a bit of a struggle getting into her because of how tight she was. Thanks to her smaller stature compared to the other girls, Naruto gritted his teeth and tried his hardest to fit 5 inches of Hisanto her, but the tightness was just out of this world. In Naruto, keep going. Fu begged in sheer bliss. As you wish, Naruto said and gave a sharp thrust, managing to spear almost his entire length into her, making the girl moan at the feeling. Ah, that's my new addiction right there. Fu moaned. Naruto then began the cycle of thrusting into her, then pulling out and then thrusting into her again gently. He didn't want to accidentally hurt her with how big he was combined with her petite stature. The two of them bit into each other's ear and moaned for the other at the immense pleasure they were receiving from each other. Each thrust Naruto gave her was so gentle but perfect it was driving her literally insane. She opened her mouth to moan for him, but she was feeling so damn good that she just couldn't moan. Would Shibuki be shocked at seeing his sister like this? Would he be happy she found love? All that didn't matter now as Naruto continued to thrust into her. Oh God, Naruto, she panted out. Don't stop. Naruto then went a tad bit faster in his thrusts while still maintaining the gentleness he put into it. Oh God, Fu moaned out. She then got an idea. Naruto, stop for a second. What's wrong? I got a good idea which I'm sure you'll love, she said with a wink. Do show. Naruto chuckled as he pulled out of Fu and got off her. Getting up, Fu then goes on all fours, with a hand seal she made wings sprout out of her lower back. Whoa, you have Chome the beetle. That's awesome, I think I get where you're going with this. Naruto said in surprise. If you know what I want then come and give it to me, she teased, shaking her small but perfectly plump at him. If that's your game then let me show you mine, Naruto said, performing a hand seal into Fu's pleasure. The Kyuubi's chakra began flaring around him. Oh boy, he couldn't wait to show Fu a good time. If you're done come and show me a good time, Fu teased, shaking her at him before noticing that his freaking huge was more veiny than it already was and was pulsating. God, did she want that in her now? Prepare yourself, Fu-chan. Naruto smirked smugly. Crawling up to Fu's rear, he positions his into her wet vaginal opening and slowly inserts it in, inch by agonizing inch, making Fu cry out in pleasure. Go good. Fu moaned. Naruto then decided to grab both her wings and pulled her back with enough force to get all the way into her, making her howl in pleasure. Oh my God. Fu screamed as she was filled with all 17 inches of his meat scepter that her was touching his belly. Naruto then pulled half his out and pulled her by her wings again, spearing her once more. The sheer pleasure of his thrusts made her howl. Naruto then began withdrawing and then pulled her wings with such force and rhythm that Fu was soon into a trance-like state. The sounds of his sharp thrusts which caused his pelvis to impact her lovely echoing in the room. Fu then leaned back to where she was able to lean against Naruto's chest and they engaged in a passionate kiss. Not once did Naruto cease his perfect thrusts as he continued to pound into her. Not too hard, not too soft, but perfect just for Fu. Their passionate lovemaking and intense making out was easily the best thing they've ever experienced. Fu easily came second place in terms of lovemaking. They then separate lips and Fu on his neck, giving him a noticeable hickey as Naruto continued to thrust into her. After about a minute of their lovemaking, Fu noticed something that she didn't even see before. This is so huge that she could see the bulge in her flat stomach. She watched it withdraw and thrust back into her, and the sight was so pleasing she didn't notice that her second orgasm was approaching. In Naruto, she cried out as she came all over. The feeling of the juices spraying him made him quiver. Urgh! Naruto grunted out as Fu went back on all fours. Keep going, Fu begged. Naruto wasted no time in grabbing her wings and pulling her back onto his, impaling her once more. God, that seriously is going to be my new addiction. Naruto then repeated the cycle of pulling his out and pulling her back onto it via her wings and continued to do so for a good 30 minutes at a steady pace before. Fu. I can't hold it. He cried. Oh. God. Naruto pulled out once more. With his grip on her wings tightening, he pulled her back onto his so powerfully that he impaled not only his, but also got his large balls into her as well. The glands breaking through her cervix and pushing into her uterus, and soon enough the seven-tailed Jinchuriki felt his cum flooding her uterus to the max, and she was left moaning at the feeling. Fu's head drooped down and she saw her belly swell up from the sheer amount of cum that had flooded her. She was appalled by how sexy that looked. Naruto leaned forward breathing heavily and kissed her ear before nibbling it. The two of them then revert back to their normal forms. That was amazing. Truly amazing, Naruto. Fu got out between pants. I'm glad you liked it. Naruto kissed her cheek before he pulled his huge out. Fu then felt something, and looking underneath herself she saw her cum-inflated belly deflate as a lot of the cum spilled out of her. That's hot. The two exhausted lovers then collapse onto the bed, but Naruto doesn't lay next to her. He had one thing to take care of, and that was scooping up the spilled cum from the sheets with his hands and carefully puts it back into Fu's. So desperate for me to be inseminated. She teased. I want you to bear my child. He said with a wink. Well, I can't wait then. Naruto then goes to lay next to her and spoons her. Good night, Fu. Good night, Naruto. They both rub her belly before falling asleep with big smiles on their faces. Fu then dreamed of her new, happy life with Naruto.